Welcome to the Mom Owned and Operated podcast, the podcast about moms and for moms, where we have candid conversations about running a business, raising a family, and remembering ourselves. I'm your host, Rita Suzanne, a single mom of four, digital strategist, and provider of no-nonsense business strategies and tactics. Hi, everybody. This is Rita Suzanne, and thank you for joining us on Mom Owned and Operated. Today, I am talking to Ellyse Colson, and I'm so excited to learn about her and her business and how she's doing all of the things. Thank you, Ellyse, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Rita. I'm so excited to be here and talking with your audience. I mean, when we talk about talking to moms, like all of us moms are like, yeah, let's have a conversation because we all just, it's a collective group of knowing, right? So yeah, my name is Ellyse Colson, and I am the owner of Blue Spruce Virtual Administrative Solutions, and currently in the process of establishing a DBA for the Sustainable Business Collective as my business grows and changes. I am a mom of 3 kiddos. My oldest is 4. And then I have a 2-year-old and a 2-month-old baby. And so that has been quite the journey. I started my business 2.5 years ago. So when my middle daughter was just born, that's when I started. And so now with a newborn, it's been a very interesting transition for sure. We live in Denver, Colorado, and I was born and raised here and absolutely love it and love doing all of the outside things because Denver, if you didn't know, has 300 days of sunshine. So
I love it. Yeah.
We are all about the outside business, and it's actually fairly warm all year long, which is
maybe I should relocate trivia there.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, so we live here. I work within my business full time from home. And so that has been a very interesting journey that I'm excited to talk with Rita about and share with all of you.
So what made you decide to start your business? Was it because you started having kids or?
So before I was a work from home mom, I was in education. So I started as a teacher and had wanted to be a teacher since I was 7 years old. Like that was the thing that I was going to be from elementary school on. And being the kind of person that I am, I was very focused and doing that. Like nobody could tell me otherwise. I was going to be a teacher. I was going to be a teacher for the rest of my life. That's what I was going to do. And 6 years into it, I decided that I wanted a little bit more leadership and I wanted to make more money because quite honestly, as a teacher, you just don't make very much money. And my husband is also a teacher. And so we needed to start building up some additional income if we were going to have kids and eventually buy a bigger house and do all the things. So I went into school administration and at the same time also had my first kiddo, and it wasn't terrible. When you only have one kid, it's a little bit easier to manage not necessarily being home all the time. But with my daughter, when I was pregnant with her at 29 weeks, I actually ended up having a bleeding episode and ended up in the hospital. And at that point, everything just kind of changed. I realized that I didn't want to keep pushing through everything. I ended up having to take a couple of days off of work just to figure out what was going on. And that whole process in itself was exhausting.
Right.
And then I was going to have to worry about taking maternity leave on top of that. And it was a lot.
Yeah.
And I realized that I wanted to find some way that I could work from home, and stumbled upon a webinar by a woman named Lauren Golden, and she is amazing and wonderful. And did her webinar, and her course that she offers is all about starting your freelancing business. And so I decided to hop into that and start doing that while I was on maternity leave, and started my business officially in May of 2018. And for those of you who are like starting your business and still working your 9 to 5, I feel you. I did it for 2 years because I did not actually have the ability to
just leave,
quit my 9 to 5 until this last May, in May of 2020, because we were so dependent upon my income. I mean, it's not like I just had the ability to say, you know what, I'll figure it out as I go. No, I needed this to work. I needed this business to be legit before I could fully jump in with both feet. So,
well, and I think that that's a smart way to do it. I had only probably worked with maybe 2 clients before I took this giant leap. Like I just knew. I'm like, oh, this is going to be amazing. It's going to be so, like, people are going to pay me thousands of dollars, you know? That's what I believed. Like because I'm seeing, like we were talking about, I'm seeing these other moms like portray themselves, or other women at like, oh, this is so great. It's so wonderful. And little did I know how challenging it really was. And, you know, I took it a step further. Not only did I quit, I moved across the country in order to start a business because I was living in California and it's way more expensive out there. So I had to come back to Ohio. So I completely get what you're saying. And I think that for some, like you probably should stay at your job as long as you can, just for that security, because when your business is so young, you evolve and you change and things change for you. Like, would you agree with that? Yeah.
Wholeheartedly. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that I've learned in the last 2.5 years is that the online space and entrepreneurial space moves so quickly. Like the number of businesses, not even so much that like start and aren't successful, that I haven't seen a ton of that. I see a lot of people start and maybe not necessarily fully jump into it. But I've seen so many people start their business and realize that they need to make a shift or a change. And so then they pivot, and then that doesn't feel quite right. So they shift and change again. And like you and I were talking about before we started recording, this is such a personal development journey as well. When you start your business. And so because of that, your business changes a lot because you are changing. And so I started my business as a virtual assistant, knowing full well that like that was probably not the place that I was going to stay, but I wasn't totally sure. Like it was more about a means to an end. I wanted to be able to stay home with my kids. I wanted to have more time freedom to stay home with them. And so I did that, but I wasn't fully invested in being a virtual assistant. Like I knew that wasn't going to be the thing. And so then I shifted even more and pivoted a little bit more, because one of the first things that you learn when you hop into this online space is that like, you need to figure out who you're talking to and what you're doing for them. And just saying that like, I'll help anyone do anything is not going to land you clients. I don't care who you are or what you do. Like it is not going to land you clients, and it's not going to be consistent, and you're not going to make it a whole lot of money.
Yeah, because you don't really know, like you said, who you're talking to. You don't even really know what to say because you don't know who you're talking to. So you may be saying something that's just hitting the mark. I mean, it's missing the mark with everybody completely.
Absolutely. And nobody can picture themselves working with you. Like if you can't identify their problem for them, then they're not going to say, oh my goodness, this is the person that's going to solve my problem. And so I was able to figure out that I wanted to do more like social media management. And really the big thing that I did for my clients was content repurposing so that they could reach their audience on multiple platforms. And then this past summer, I was talking with one of my coaches, and this is the reason why like hiring a coach is so stinking important for your business, is she was like, Ellyse, you understand, like you want to make a course, but what if you actually helped women after they've already started their business? Like there's a whole bunch of people who will help you start your VA business. And then there's a whole bunch of people who will help you scale your business. But what about that in between space? I was like, oh yeah, you're right. That's the thing that has totally changed my life over the last, year now. And so it was that change into like coaching that now I feel so much more aligned with that. But I never would have gotten there if I hadn't like started from the beginning. And it's totally different from where I started 2.5 years ago. It's crazy.
Right. But you are a teacher. So teaching someone else how to, be successful is what you have wanted to do your whole life, which is very similar to me. I always wanted to be a teacher too, except now that I am teaching kids, I don't want to be a teacher. I just want to teach adults. I don't want to teach any of my kids anything. I do. I'll leave that to them. But, I always wanted to be a teacher. And so like you, when I started my business, I started doing design to prove to everybody like, look, I can make money at this. I can do this. This is going to be the thing. And then, as it's grown, like I've started like you wanting to get into education more than the actual doing. And so I can definitely see that. And we talked about like picking a business name, and right now you're Blue Spruce, but what are you transitioning to?
The transition will be to the Sustainable Business Collective, because that is like really my core mission. Like when I picked my name originally, Blue Spruce Virtual Administrative Solutions, first of all, if you are naming your business, please make sure that you say it out loud and like can say it 10 times fast, because Blue Spruce Virtual Administrative Solutions looks really nice on paper, but holy cow, is that a mouthful? Like, oh my goodness. But I also didn't want my name to be part of it for whatever reason. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. And honestly, if I were to go back, I probably would have done my name, because it transitions really, really well. You don't have to change the name of your business. But with Blue Spruce, I wanted a Colorado connection. And so Blue Spruce is actually the state tree of Colorado. I originally wanted to do Columbine, but Columbine has such a negative connotation that it was a short-lived.
Plus, that could be misspelled. So that's another thing, like thinking about how things, are spelled and making it easier for people to find you. If they misspell, then they'll miss you altogether.
Yep. So that is for sure one of my just like coined recommendations for any newbie that I'm ever talking to who's like, I don't know what to name my business. But yeah, and you almost want it to be very searchable, like SEO compatible. And so for me, building a sustainable business is like the way that I'm able to stay home with my kids. If my business was not sustainable, I would not be able to actually stay home with them. And in talking about like wanting to do it all, my 2 older kids, and the youngest one will go once my oldest goes to kindergarten in the fall, but they go to daycare 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Which is the best thing that I ever did for my business. Like, I would not be able to run a successful business if I didn't have some time to myself where my kids were not around. And it actually makes me a much better mom, because when they are here, I'm not trying to work the entire time that they're around.
I completely agree. I mean, my kids don't go to daycare, but when they're in regular school, that makes all the difference for me. And I can understand. I can't even imagine having, 3 kids and trying to do all of the things. And especially now you're trying to build this new business and still serving your clients, I'm sure that you already have. So because you have all of these things going on, tell us, like, what does a typical day look like for you?
So very interesting. So my days where my kids are not here are beautiful days. Like I love those days. And anybody who will tell you that like they feel mom guilt, I feel that. Like I get that there is so much mom guilt around the fact that like I started this business so I could stay home with my kids and now I'm sending my kids to daycare, like, or I'm having somebody come and watch them at the house. Why can't I make it work together? And so my typical day when my kids are home is I spend the whole morning with them and we play and we watch shows and we eat breakfast together, and it gives me the intentional time and space with them that they deserve. And then in the afternoon, when my daughter is taking a nap, then I am able to get some other work done.
Right.
And that's really my saving grace. Like I really don't plan a whole lot during the days that my kids are here on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays.
I love it.
And so I only plan a couple of things in the afternoon that I know, even if she doesn't end up taking a nap, I could still like get done if she's watching a show or something like that. And then on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, that's usually when I schedule my calls with my clients, so that I can give them my full attention. I don't want them to feel like I don't value the work that I do for them. And so having that intentional time that I can dedicate to my clients and the like front facing side of my business is so big.
So that leads me to my next question, which it probably goes hand in hand with this, but how do you like do your business and your mom stuff and balance everything with business, home, family, but also self, because self is so important. And sometimes, you know, as moms, we leave ourselves to be the last thing that we do.
It's so true. I am a huge proponent of self-care, and I was before even just like this whole self-care movement has started, because it is so important. Like I am fully bought into the idea that I have to take care of myself in order to take care of everybody else really well. And so before I was able to quit my 9-to-5 job, I actually had my day split up. I had 3 hours every day that I worked on my business. I had an hour first thing in the morning, an hour at lunch, and then an hour in the evening while the kids were like getting ready for bed. And that's still allowed, because the other piece that we tend to forget is our spouses.
Right.
And so my husband looked at me at one point and he was like, you can't just do all of your work at night because I feel like I'm not spending any time with you.
Right.
So I am very much keyed into being as productive as I possibly can during the times of work that I've scheduled out for myself. And if something happens, then with my kids, then I am willing to set my work to the side and find that backup time later to come back and do the work.
Well, that's the benefit, because I mean, that's the freedom that we like wanted when we started our business, right? Is like to be able to handle these emergencies and not feel guilty or like feel obligated. Oh no, I can't help you, you know, because I gotta work, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And if need be, like if your kid is sick, instead of working down in my office, I can sit and work up on the couch while my daughter lays down and does whatever. Or, you know, I'm very tuned in and getting much better at tuning myself in on a more regular basis of like asking myself how I'm feeling, because I don't want to just be pushing through the work aspect. It makes it so that the work that I turn out is not my best work.
Right.
And you have to listen to your body and your mind and really be tuned into where you are. And self-care is not a thing that you just do every once in a while. Self-care is a thing you do every single day. Yeah. So making sure that you're drinking enough water and making sure you're getting enough sleep are two of the best ways that you can take care of yourself. And definitely something that I am on board with. It is like the things that sit at the forefront of my mind. I need to make sure I go to bed on time so that I can like do well the next day.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
think too, when you have young kids, it is like young kids like yours, like it's easy to put yourself to the side because your kids they need so much from you. And so even just doing, like you said, getting the appropriate amount of rest. I mean, I'm sure you're up and stuff with the baby at night. And so going to bed on time is going to be super important for you. And then, drinking water is always my kids always joke with me that I tell them drinking water, they think that that's the cure for everything. So they'll tell me that I have it.
And it kind of is.
It is. Right. You have a headache.
Water,
you're dehydrated.
Drink some water.
Right.
Yeah.
You're still hungry. Drink some water and let's see how you feel in a half hour.
Exactly. You don't need more snacks. Go drink some water.
Right.
Totally.
Exactly.
Totally. The other super key piece that so many of us moms don't want to do because we feel like it's a reflection and that we can't do it is relying on your spouse or your significant other. And if you are a single mom, more power to you. You women are rock stars. I do not know how you do it because the only way that I am able to do the things that I do is that my husband does so many things within our family. He puts the two older kids to bed. He makes dinner every night. He cleans up dinner every night. He cleans the house. I do not do it all.
Right.
And I can't do it all. I would completely burn out if I did.
Right. And that's one problem that I've had in the past is I would work, do all the house stuff, and then instead of taking off on the weekend, I would use the weekend to catch up on all of the things. But then on Tuesday at 4:00 in the afternoon, I am crashing and I'm not doing anything else. Not even on Wednesday. I'm not doing it. So that just really is not healthy because, it would happen so regularly that I'm just like, I cannot function like this. This is not good. But
sure.
Finding that balance. And one thing that I've done is I'll take different days and dedicate different things to them. So Monday is my marketing day, Tuesday is clients, and etc. And that way I can just focus in on these things that I have to do versus trying to do all of the things, especially work related at one time, and I think that that's important too, is to really figure out, because I know that I'll create a schedule. And unless somebody else is on the other end of that schedule relying on me, I will just ignore the whole thing because I have so many things, so many interruptions, so many needs, so many, requirements and I'm sure yours is probably even worse than that.
I mean, my greatest tool, my greatest asset is time blocking. I have to be able to tell myself what things I'm going to work on each day. And I do it at the beginning of the week. So I don't have to sit every single day and spend time during those really precious moments that I have to work on my business, figuring out what the heck I'm doing. Right. And I know that for so many moms, especially when you have little ones, that there's a lot of pushback. I can't stick to my time blocking. It doesn't work, whatever. I give myself a lot of grace.
As you should, as everybody should.
There's no way that I'd be able to keep going if I didn't give myself grace. And it's more about making sure that I get the tasks for the day accomplished, not necessarily the times that I've dedicated to get those tasks accomplished. So
not giving yourself too many tasks in one day, right? Because I feel like, we will list out a million things that we have to do. And then if we only finish one, we're like, I didn't do enough today. But maybe that one thing was so integral to everything, but we don't give ourselves credit because we're just like, it's not enough. I have to keep doing. And that's the problem with us. We're running around in circles, trying to do all of the things, right?
Right. Instead of being, we're always doing.
Right.
And we don't give ourselves the space to just be. And I mean, I didn't start a business from home so that I could ignore my children all day long and work on my business. I love my business. I realize now that I would not be able to just be a stay-at-home mom because I feel like I would lose myself.
Right. I never wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and it's probably for that reason. I was like, I cannot envision myself doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if anybody does, like, I'm not like,
no,
that's great.
it is so
everybody's
hard.
different. Yeah.
It is so hard. Like the stay-at-home mom piece is the hardest piece because it is so much dedicated to other people. And so if you are a stay-at-home mom, please make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Yes.
And my business is like the piece that I do for me. It's the piece that one allows me to stay home. Like it's
right. Contributes
it's
to
essential.
the family, but also like challenge you.
Correct. It's the piece that allows me to continue to grow as a person. So
what would you say then has been like the biggest challenge that you've had in your business?
Oh, that is a great question. I think it's the ongoing nature of not necessary of being the one that's fully in charge of who is directing the ship. Like
right.
I am driving the ship, and some days I don't know what direction I'm facing or where I want to go.
I just want to jump off board sometimes.
Somebody else take the wheel. I'm done. I need to just sit back and tan for a minute. So I think that's been the hardest piece is you get to a point where if you are not the one internally motivating yourself, how the heck are you going to keep going?
Right. Okay. So let me ask you a question. So sustainable business, tell me, okay, what are there like specific aspects of it that make it sustainable? Like explain that to me a little bit.
That is a really great question. So my whole thing is when you start your business, and I specifically direct myself towards service providers and like online service providers who are doing done for you services for other businesses. When you start off your business, you are starting off more like a freelancer. You are just trying to land as many jobs as you can to make money. But once you get to a point where you've proven to yourself that you have clients, you do need to make sure that you've niched down. You do want to make sure that you are much more intentional about the types of clients that you're bringing on. And so the sustainability piece comes into the types of clients you're bringing on. You need to make sure that your boundaries are really clear. And you need to have a really solid foundation. That's the biggest piece. I just finished the beta round of my course, the Sustainable Business Academy. And the foundations is what we start with. And it's the piece that like you keep coming back to. You have to have a really solid foundation for your business and know how it functions so that you can grow and scale the way that you want to.
Yeah, I think it's important for the growth of your business, right? Like you said, it's the step between the starting and the growing. So I love that. So since a little one is getting fussy, so I'm going to say, if someone wants to find you online, where is the best place to find you since you're transitioning?
I have a Facebook group that I would love for you all to come and join. It is called the Sustainable Business Collective for Service Providers. And then over on Instagram, Ellyse, ELLYSE _ Colson, COLSON _. Those are the two best places to find me. And we talk all about what it takes to create a sustainable business and the different things that you may
like
be missing.
Specific tools and resources.
Correct. Like I have training on like how to manage multiple clients together and making sure that you're not just out networking and marketing yourself, but you're also tracking your leads. And that's the intentionality piece is really key when you're creating a sustainable business.
I love it. Okay, so I will link everything in here. And oh my goodness, thank you so much for jumping on here and telling us all about your business, Ellyse. It's been such a pleasure.
Well, Rita, thank you so much for having me. I feel very honored to get to talk to you and your entire audience.
Yay, thank you so much.
And there you have it. I want to encourage you to remember that being a mom who runs her own business is not easy. We all struggle, but just keep moving forward and don't forget to make time for yourself. as moms, we are usually the first thing to go to the bottom of the list. If your business is overwhelming you and you need real solutions, not just some sugar-coated suggestions, apply to work with me at ritasuzanne.com/apply.